Kaya yoxatini chaltakat Johan. Awe xosatin. Quash qone yendal sheet kak qag aya quash atlen qone hasujir kaudaga yen kagurdaga ya tel chago yach yekhwaji yen chaltakat ya has yawdulluchen ya yaaw gidet ko sheet ka quash shan seat Jagud ane kag telkdeen chasaku shqaqwe aya akrehas wutien telliaidet gwas yeast zait dullier kuchte hasyak yagachta katchetse wa qaqweta Wujin ada gachtu tu yadu achtuasuku yisatini naski naski okay yata ko yana yawa kesh yawa we yaaw gwas yeast zait klein dullier kesh kuchte guksa yata kesh kuchte gachte ye owecho ach ajoy kesh de katyer as yawdulluch yata tsu ach tuasuku yisatini Audulluch yandulluch kesh tsu has agurtulluch gursa yeast zait klein dullier ye owe klingetet chai haqustier sati ajoy ach tuasuku yaaw kach yen ʼatudli. Ye owe ach tel adat has tu ti data tinachsayati yellingetani chaltakata dachas kagachsaha uhan qatlaik utusaku wasadu wasago at yatatsu Wujin ye jagachtune yaha yuqatangida Kukits achtuasaku yisatini llata Kukits yachyati yallingetani yaha tuasaku Wujyach kadudali das data tinachsa hayati kadata tinachsa chaltakat at data tinachsa hasyati dachte sego at khasati dachte sego at khasati yaaw quakan Wooch X'éig Rwy callhaji yir hasyati One qarin ḳeikakg aya tu kian qawu chaltakat qaji yir awati Akh'a yewa hasu tundatani hachagu qawu tusaku chaltakat at yawani ajikhtuti yahch quakan chaltakat hadayati yewa adati tuhtatan yayaki wasayitu Wooch achtuasuku shukwa arlingit qinach Dukt'ootl'ki chayiku geng aqaqatawus aqadukt'ootlʼ dati jagachtuni Eat katashitsa Dasa yisatinyaq Ts'altakata Dísi tínach tuasaku chuachi.
Keat chatín.
Ke uatan.
Knock yon. Wooch? No, ḳ'eig.
Ya nash.
Fish.
Hapk.
Yeah, cook.
Ya owa.
X'éig ka.
Yek yasnaat S'éig ʼatudli.
Chatín.
Okay.
Siu dog wusi tun yedu. Away.
Yechwaji kitch anagat. Chasatín. Or chasatín.
Keat kinayeti.
Nagazay dugu. Okay.
Yakage. Yahaax'w. Walxwéin.
Gotcha.
Naqatse. Aqach. Tasak shawe.
Yana 8.
Yadu Yana 8. Kuch.
Knock.
Yahaax'u. Kanich.
Each cut. Knock.
Ya owa.
In yikde yaaw chatín.
Ya owa.
Dasa adane dech ka.
Yisikuge. Shitkak kaya. Daye has jiné ya dayach.
Wow. Okay.
Ke has awa yik. We how. How da
Dasa wait zait. Yan dasa.
Putlahashi zait.
Zait.
As gegach kachuka. Yeah.
Kajuha ḳeikakg.
Seek away. We sha nach
Ka sikyadi.
Yik.
Askatu yit.
Dasa hatin ach sha shui.
Shach.
You do. Not say nach. Yeah, say nach. Say nach.
Yatake. Kinde.
Kinder.
Ya.
Oh.
Kitchanaqat.
He's Sean.
Jiné. With zait. What you do, kachu we do.
You do. Walkiwe.
Okay, chish.
Kash aden qagutia. Ajkhawe. Hu owe. It's a heat. We yaaw. Kaltasachas ko adadra.
So hitla. yahaax'w.
Hitla.
Hitla or hitla.
Oh, ich sei Quantity.
Dasa hit da way teeth ka somethings dasa hanging down. Dasa yeah.
So,
Gach.
Kach. ʼatudli.átk Kayaaní. So, you do a sock. Yata. Dísi walxwéin. ʻ'eikakg áax'w. Kayaaní. Yatayach.
Oh.
Kaudayuch. So.
Cheese.
Oh, you sit in gay yale ish. Katka hasatin.
Shah. Teal. Sail. Sail. Teal.
Teach again?
Teal. Her rubber boots.
Oh, Ts'ootsxán.
Tech.
Ts'ootsxán.
Kitch anagat away.
Yaaw.
Hi.
Dasa yata.
Oh.
Shun waqiqa.
Kushta.
Yeah. Oh, that's kani. Tsa yixaji. Yashkiwi kushta.
Ts'ootsxán hidi khatin.
Oh, yeah, do Okay.
Ts'ootsxán hidi.
Thai hasatin. Thai ḳ'eikakg jiné.
Thai.
Dal has áax'w ka
Oh, yeah, khwaj.
dal hin yik chadich.
Oh, for dried.
Yeah, gish. Dao. Yeah, Dao, walxwéin yang. Guksa hasyan. Guksa yas. Nadatluch. We Dao adat. Dao da'a. We yan. How. Dot how da'a. Ne ḳ'eikaxwéin. Ne da'a. Naski aqotzati. Tling gitas tuasuku hasawa khai.
Áax'w. áax'w. Kayaaní Dukt'ootlʼ.
Yeah, Hilary. Yeah,
Down. Oh, count. Down.
Linget on igayacht away. Yeah. Linget tien. Stakat kwan each kach on linget on igayacht away. Yahaayi. Cha ayach away. It's how Tlingits used to live right there on the beach.
Yeah, Ts'ootsxán ani. Yeah, hasakaushikit. Hasja khusi qa'a ha'ayach. Ayach away. Has ḳeikaxwéin. Has Ts'ootsxán. ʼeikakg. Goodness.
Sahatin?
Gwalxwéin tsá. Isha dasa atá. Has du yaaw, has walxwéin. Has a walxwéin ká has du isha dat tín saqa. Llaqaskake.
ID. Aga.
Gwalxwéin.
Sach.
Okay. Gwalxwéin.
Yehuaji Ganuk. Chwesatin? Ganuk? Kusigang. Wadu?
Oh, yeah, take
Ganuk.
Llaq.
Shak.
Ganuk céadla di tlain ó lliad di llydich.
Wushadich.
Llydich.
Oh.
Llydich. Lliad. Yéil ís yw dwi sago at tsu. Llaq.
Oh, yes. Shuchwanach. Shuchwanach Chayach.
Yéil tlá ówe ho ysha kawa Te. Cynnych cadadwg te a gacwg gysi. Cynnych gwadiach yati, cadwdiach yati te. A cad aya shoot ac gyda ac. Trwy tle, diego gengi ayat a cwg gynwyd. Dogneadach ye cwgwasti. Cyll dasa ac gwadjach. Ye away yeil cwdzati. Llach. Du klar du ina Kayaaní gyda gweitha. A dwi yeil is yw dwi sago at. Yak awe?
Ach in.
Oh, okay. Good cheese. Thoughts, questions, reflections.
I gotta practice doing that.
Yeah.
Because I could talk a lot of nouns about certain things, but then I'm like, how do I talk about it if it's way, like, because I remember the positions, but yeah, I gotta practice.
Well, there's like 12 of them. They're so cool.
I downloaded all of them earlier today.
Yeah. I gotta take new pictures of them, I think.
It reinforces me that I really need to work on positionals and directions. I always forget where to put them in the sentence. So so it refers to the right noun I'm talking about. I noticed that with the children too. I thought we were mutually confusing one another.
Oh,
Oh, hold on.
did we die? To hear the class students.
And us three being the students, it shouldn't be hard to hear us.
Pretty loud.
Right, exactly.
The lights aren't going on.
Yeah,
Hello, hello.
Oh, yeah.
Testing. Can you hear it? Yaax'w. Better also klar.
Gotta.
Well, now that's pretty close. Usually I'm like quietly.
And we were laughing really loud there for a moment.
Yeah.
Wait, laugh we can hear. Siket hinach.
Bring me the microphone.
Skydu. Ah, there you are. I thought I heard your voice, but I couldn't quite hear what you guys were saying. So it was probably about us, right? The Zoom people who are just talking about us. No.
Yeah. Yeah, we have them all closer to us now.
Goodness cheese.
Any questions? Anything you?
I have one.
Oh.
I I was wondering how to say I wonder, because my question is, I wonder if drying fish like that, you still call it ʼatkan hidi ishi, even though it's not in a smokehouse.
I think what Shanakait was saying is this is probably herring eggs on kelp.
Oh,
If they're pulling herring eggs here, then I was talking about geesh, and dao. And I guess ne.
I know in southern Kayaaní, they dry the herring eggs on dow in the wind like that.
But we gotta get what's the difference between geesh, dao, and ne.
They're different types of seaweed.
Gish is bull kelp.
Kelps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so geesh is bull kelp.
Ne is hair.
Ne is hair.
And
You call it hairy seaweed?
Dow is ribbon kelp.
Dao's ribbon kelp. One kelp left to rule them all. I think it's this one. But
In your dictionary, it says Dow is the bull kelp fronds, I think.
geesh. Okay, geesh is the bull kelp. Dao is the ribbon kelp. Ne is the hairy seaweed. Su is giant kelp. Got like a big, long, flat leaf. But it's still leafy. So this would be like if you were doing this with anything, you'd probably say áax'w. They dried it, or yaaw. So that would be just to dry something. Like if they're drying meat, they're drying whatever you might be drying. You'd be drying their laundry, I guess. So yaaw. áax'w. So that would be.
Because I found hook, but what you put in front of it, like to work on.
And it might be yaaw. Like I know that those two versions exist. So if we look up dry, I think it's an S classifier when you're doing it.
Okay, because I also found in the dictionary that can follow a verb to say something is dried.
Okay.
Your dictionary.
Okay. Because then, yeah, there is a, this is for something to be dry. So ʼu'hook is it dried. And so this is an event verb. And then I guess I should have been saying ʼashook is to be drying something. So this would work for like hanging, like what, but if it's in the smokehouse, then it's probably different. And then the big question there is it fish? Because if it's not fish, then I think you're going to say you're smoking it, which is going to be this.
Well, if you're not drying it by smoking,
and it would be ʼashook.
it would just be hook.
Yeah, so the S classifier hook would be to dry something. This, which would be Ts'ootsxán, which is na, would be to smoke something. Not like to, if you're smoking something like in your mouth, that's different as well. So this would be to like tan a hide if the smoke is involved. If you're smoking braided seal intestines, if you're anything but fish. If you're smoking it, this is your verb. Here's your verb for smoking cigarettes or whatever else is your thing. X'éig. And then if you're dealing with fish, I don't know if this one is in here. So if it isn't, we have to switch. So now we gotta switch because it's on, is smoking fish, which we'll find in leers. Verbs. Under, and that's where ʼatudli hiti comes from, ʼatudli, and not everybody says ʼatudli hiti though.
Yeah. Say,
They'll say X'éig hit in other places, in some places. But if we go down to ʼan, past there. ʼan. So that tells you it's a zero classifier act verb. And I do believe it's zero because I've heard it as ʼatudli. They smoked something, some kind of fish. Okay. And Shashquan, did you have something you asked?
I put it in the chat so we could look at it. International Day of Children and Young People, and then also they asked about like how to say grow, like as a theme for something. But then I was thinking about like how a lot of things don't really work the same in Tlingit and in English, and that seemed like it might be one of those things to have a theme of to grow in character. But then that seems like a strange thing in Tlingit thought. Yeah. To like not like you're growing up, but like you're like you as
emotional growth or something.
Yeah. Then I don't know what kind of like internal growth they're talking about. If that's like intellectual or emotional or spiritual or like collective.
Well, okay.
Yeah. It makes me think of, now I want to look at the Tlingit that was done for the tribal assembly theme, because it's rooted in tradition, growing a sustainable future. So I was like, which verb did they use for growing?
Oh my. Such an English. Okay. So let's start with this. What is the difference between, so ʼatudli and ʼatudli are the same thing. But what's the difference between those and ʼat'katzku?
One isn't Katsku adolescent?
Typically, but not in this situation.
Child versus children?
Yes. Even though, yes, that is adolescent, this just throws some of those things out the window. Because this is also literally means children of something, but that just translates to children. And this also means adolescent something, and that just means child. Áax'w. Do you have your hand up?
What was that Zait that was the further out in the water that had looked like it like nets hanging from a rope or something? You know, in the picture? Yeah, that thing. That's
Well, there's a boat there.
Yeah. But doesn't it look like there's like things hanging in the water? I mean, it looks like a fish farm or something.
There's no like I don't see any sort of hatchery nearby.
Yeah.
Or maybe is it like a more complex version for pulling up the herring eggs? Like they've got
Yeah, maybe they're hanging boughs from the ropes or something.
I know on POW they tie kelp to ropes.
Yeah, okay.
And boughs in the water.
Yeah, and then there's this big thing over here. Hard to say. So I'll get some higher resolution images of this someday. I thought I had some. But hats off to Virginia Berg for taking all these photos of all of these. She said,
Sheesh.
You know how they had those little tiny digital cameras back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like 4 megapixels.
That's exactly what mine was.
Okay, so coming back to our question of a couple of concepts, I guess. So if we're going to say international and then children and young people, if you're going to, I guess you'd say ʼatudli.átk something. That would be one way to say something of like, what's the name of the dance group?
Children of all nations or something like that.
Yetki? Yeah. Yetki maybe?
Close enough.
So this would be like noun. Would be noun of all nations. But if we want to ditch that international part because that's making it too long, I would say ʼatudli yagi. That's what I would suggest. And then if you're thinking of growing, I think you end up with 2 different things. So let's go here. I was looking up flowering. This is like, okay, we have to take a second to admire this verb. Because when I see a verb that's a real doozy, I just want to spend a little time with it. So it does have a in front of it, so that should be underlined. Then it has ka. It's an L plus D classifier, or D plus L. Xwéin is the verb root. Then when we see this ʼeikaxwéin, that tells us a lot. Well, it gives us a real important thing. What is this important thing it gives us?
Not conjugation?
Not na. It's got na in there, which it'll have in the progressive. But because it has yay, it's so now I can use this verb any way I want, even though it's going to get complicated. So when we see, and then we see ʼaáax'w, which is another name for salmonberry. It has 3 names. ʼeikaxwéin. I would expect that to be long and low, but it looks like it's long and high. So at the very least, this is one that stays high. There's a possibility that it's invariable. So before we're doing some growing ourselves here. So let's look this up. Let's see if we can get any other information from here. ʼeikaxwéin is a flower. I think it's probably invariable. So this is a noun, this is the verb. So this is a verbal noun. So if I sort of put the pieces together, say a, ka, and then D plus L, xwéin, maybe with one of these little things, and then I'm gonna say, I'm gonna guess it's an event verb. There might be an object in there. So I want to say it is going to flower.
but we've also got the verb what. What?
We're gonna get there.
Okay, all right.
Flower.
I actually knew something.
ḳeikakg, ḵ'eikaxwéin.
Okay.
ḳ'eikaxwéin.
We will accept a ka.
Oh, I was just gonna ask what that little X means again. I needed a reminder.
Invariable step. That's my guess. It's going to be ḥwein anyways. So we know we're gonna get to blank. ḥwein.
Cool.
At the least. So we're missing a couple things. But we're on our way.
Future.
Put in a yay.
Yeah, gotta put yay in.
ḳeikakg.
Future thematic.
Okay.
Hukwa.
Let's phone a friend. And our somebody call in the conjugator. So we have a thematic. It's a future. It's a D plus L. So there's L, here's D plus L. We get yay. We're gonna have a ka, and even though there's two thematics, oops, get balloons for two thematics. What if there are four? Would that even be possible? We get confetti. Okay. All that we are worried about is whichever one's the last one. A kuk, and what's right here? Kayaaní. Yay, ḥwein. We ain't scared of no big verbs around here.
Where'd the D go?
The classifier. So if it's a plus I, you're going to get dl. For everything else, you're going to get just the letter L. A D plus L classifier will be dl or sh. And because it's a future, it has to be minus I.
And when did you say it gets the D?
Well, the D is always built in there. What that means is if it's a positive perfective, for example, we say it did, we'd say a cow, ḥwein. It flowered. ḥ'eikaxwéin. There's your dl. All other forms are just going to have the letter L. You could build an insane, well, because I got, sorry. You can say a ka, okay, ka, kash, quench. You could say it if you wanted to. And what was that? What would that be?
It will always flower?
It always flowers. Okay. Yeah, okay. So let's
Would
go.
you have a different ending if it flowers every time?
Well, this would be this is like every spring it flowers, right? So this would be the always one. If you wanted to do your do I have a repetitive in here? Do I not have that?
I think it's hiding under something.
Okay. So in the meantime,
It's there.
okay. Do I have one more thing to do? Okay. Well, if we go under here, we'll find. Okay, go up. And you're going to have yay and ch in front of it. So you're going to have yay, ḳeikaxwéin. So you're just going to drop the qa and you're going to add a yay in front of it. And that would be, it flowers regularly.
You have under some variation in the conjugator on page 4 and 5. I'm not seeing.
I don't think I have. I thought that thing was kind of almost done. Okay. We're going to grow.
Yeah, it should be right after hortative.
Not the theme. Right.
Yeah. I don't think I did it. I know I didn't do it. Okay. Maybe I did.
But I think if you look at hortative and at the beginning it says it can make other modes.
Well, it's not a hortative mode, though. It's different. So this is your answer. This is to grow in size and maturity. So this would be what we're looking for in terms of growth, because you'd say yanwat, and that's a term, yanwat is a term used for elders. It means they have completely matured. So, but it gets a little, this is one would probably have to talk to a speaker about, and to talk about maturing, reaching new states of being, which is when we start talking about growth, it kind of depends on physical growth, emotional growth, spiritual growth. Like all of these things are going to be kind of different, and it's going to depend on individuals and groups of cultures, because they're going to look at that kind of stuff a little bit different. Kahwat, they had really matured, and so maybe you could say a day. So where I would sort of approach something like that is coming back to wherever they are. I would probably go to Tan, to the way that people think, right? Maybe.
Oh, and I think they were specifically talking about character growth, if that makes any difference.
What's character in Tlingit? We're going to talk about that.
Right?
This is where we're getting a ʼatudli.
Aren't they called like the subject and object or something like that? So aren't they just like naturally combined in it? Or is there a specific word for them?
So like you could talk about a character like in a story. But to say they have character.
Oh.
That's a different.
The verb.
Right. So there is this phrase to talk about. I think it's da'it
Like they know it, or?
Well, it's a little. What'd that thing go? Da'it. See, here it is. Do da'it nagu. That's it. Do da'it nagu. Their behavior is improving. So da'it nagu is it's someone's actions or way of being, I guess.
I like that. Be good. Okay.
ʼeikakg. Said to my start raising kids in Tlingit. There's a good phrase.
Uh-huh. Also works for significant others.
That's funny. I haven't.
You never need to hear that. You're good all the time.
So da'it is someone's actions. So then I would say, I guess these are going to be difficult things to talk about without being judgmental, which is fine, because when they say like kedin, that means carefully or well. If you say kedinka kwati hasu da'it nagu, their behavior is going to improve. And so you end up with sort of like talking about this, but like for them to gain knowledge, ʻatwska awa adayehaska kwati, aqa kedinka kwati hasu da'it nagu. I think you could say something like that. They will be around wisdom, and then their behavior will improve. But then, like, so these are things that happen all the time. It's like an English word. English can do it with a word. And sometimes it goes the other way too, where English needs 6 words to do it, and we could do it in 2.
Mm-hmm.
But where you say, like, someone's character, what's really interesting there is we're making a collective judgment about what we think is right and wrong, right? Because if you're talking about character and improvement and behavior, that means we have some agreement on what's right and wrong.
So my question is, the line before it and the body, does it have to have a relational, like
Yes.
áax'w or do or something?
Yes. Itaitnaku datawe ʼatudli. I'm worried about your behavior. Okay.
Would you be willing to write that in the chat? They will be around wisdom one.
I'll put it on the notes.
Oh, yeah.
And I can copy in the chat. So you could say ʻatwska dot yahaax'w. Oh, I'd say āax'w. That's a good use of tsa. ʻatwska dot yahaax'w. Āax'w kedinka kwati hasu da'it nagu.
No. Just
That's really going to catch on as International Children's Day.
I think that one's that
Was there a question?
I'm a little bit confused.
Okay.
It is he gave us a paragraph for your question.
Yeah. So this is this chunk that we just went over, right, is for what we would kind of consider maybe something similar to character. Correct. Yeah. Okay. And then wait, where is it? And then something is the international children and young people.
Way back here. Adatki qayis ku'uyaki.
Okay. So children.
Yaax'w is the name of a dance group here in Juneau. And when I heard Walter Soboleff talk about it, he said the younger generation.
It's cool. Being.
So, Jiné, what's the difference between yaax'w and yaax'kag?
Yaax'kag would be a young man.
But if it has if it's pluralized, like young people, I'm just asking what's the difference between ka and
A
ku'u?
while ago, right? Like ka and ku.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is usually like, this is a person or a man, and then the ka. For me, I would think this is a group of people. So like, I don't think it could be, when you start talking about a mass, I think it switches over to this. Or like, this is one group of people, like it's a group of people over there, or they're kind of in the same space. But once you start talking about like the people of Juneau, or if you're talking about sometimes generational things, yaax'w. Now it's not just a group of people, it's like this larger collective that's sort of like there's some characteristic that links them, or there's something that does link them. And so like the people of the village, the people of where they don't even have to be in the same space, but for these ones I think they kind of got to be doing the same thing or in the same area to talk about them. That's how I sort of look at it. That was a good question. I remember you asked that a while back and we didn't quite answer it. Okay.
Gonna change.
So the long paragraph then that you put.
Oh yeah, you guys gotta help me translate this. I'm not a yaax'w, so I'm getting a little foggy memory.
Or that concussion.
ʼatudli.átk, they know it.
ʼatudli is a noun.
Oh. Elders. No.
You can want, or you can want wisdom.
Around. I never could figure out what these yays do.
They will be.
Oh yeah, future.
Your elders' comments how I guessed wisdom, so we got good synergy going on here.
That's when, or.
And okay, I would say ʼaáx'w is usually and then. It's like a good like default, like really good, like especially when you start doing storytelling and stuff. ʼaáx'w and then, it's a really neat storytelling technique to learn how to use. But if you put sa after it, it changes a little bit.
Is that the one where it's like that's when? Because
ʼaáx'w, no.
I don't know. I've seen it translated a lot as that's when. So and then.
When you put the sa on there, this is how I would recommend thinking of. And these are things like the situational translation, like context will drive so much stuff. But I like to have these sort of default definitions to work from. So ʼaáx'w sa and only then.
They will grow correctly or in the right way.
Yeah, and like if we're sort of, that is true, but if we want to do like ḳ'eikaxwéin, just so we can see how that works on its own.
Properly, they will be very. They will be.
I think this is an interesting, there's some of these, like when you do them in a certain order, I guess I would say it will improve. Right? So like I could say, I hope your life improves. It's pretty, that's a judgmental thing, but maybe someone's just going through a real hard time, like bad luck after bad luck. All of them all's behavior. Or actions, right? Their actions.
Mhm. Mhm.
But this is an important, like, if you look at speeches, it's probably in that one with George Ramos and Walter Soboleff, where they're talking about, I think if you wanted to have some conversations about accountability and doing better, like these are some ʼatudli.átk really examine your behavior. These are good things, I guess but this could be one of those things like, it's International Young People's Day. Let me tell you how to be.
George Ramos.
You know, you gotta raise them.
George
Only say that if you're an elder.
George Ramos Dusa?
Walter Soboleff.
Goodness.
The theme for the next Sharing Our Knowledge conference to be held next September is for our grandchildren's wisdom.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought we spent a long time saying for our grandchildren's learning, for their education. Came up with wisdom because we thought it was more encompassing of a whole person.
Mm-hmm.
Now we haven't tried to translate it yet though.
Should we try right now?
Yeah.
I'll do the first part.
No, click.
Sani.
Well, you could say ḥatachxankiyan.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna endear yourself to them, ḥatachxankisani, our little grandchildren.
So what does endear mean?
Like, you're just gonna love them.
They're precious. Well, of course we're gonna love them.
You say ḥatachxankiyan.
That's if you don't really care.
We know they're coming. Gee. This yan is like all kinship terms show closeness, but ḥatachxankisani takes it. It's like leveling up that love.
Okay. Like mother versus mom. Like, is that kind of like?
Well, it's like my babies versus my little babies.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, those, even if they're grown, right? My little babies, right? That's just.
Like when I'm feeling very sweet about my nieces and nephews, I call them my babies, and then I was like the kids.
And then the damn kids. Okay. I think.
What's scoop?
Well, so there's their was cool, but I guess ḥatachxankisani was cool. That's what I would put something like that in there. That's what I would suggest, something like that.
Is that how you know it?
Well, I mean, there's a couple ways because they don't exist yet. So like, what will become their wisdom? Or you could say, ḥatachxankisani áax'w. But it depends, like how do you want to talk about this? Because then you also don't have the for part, which should be probably either káx'w or káyaaní.
What's the difference?
So when we see káx'w being used, when you see yis being used, it's like it's going to be sort of a gift for them. It's going to be given for them to have, especially jiyis. Káx'w is also for, but I guess it's sort of like ḥatzín-káx'w, gácht'súch. We're going to get in the cold water for strength. So it's usually for something, but it's not like for it to have. It's like the action is being done for the sake of that thing. Because you could say, well, how would I translate this? Iin ḳ'eikaxwéin.
We're going to fight.
I'll fight for you.
No, not, it's close. It's not that, but we'll get to that one.
Oh, with you.
I'm gonna fight you. So, ʻeikakg ḥukḥwashagau.
I'm gonna fight for you. You have brought up the verb root yaaw in every single class I've ever been with you.
Gout koudigit. Okay. So the kach here, and same with like, it's gonna pop up in these things, right? A kach yande a gach 2 days. Yaaw kach yande a gach 2 days. You know this one?
Swim.
Safe as in safe.
To defend the herring.
Oh.
There's a sticker on her computer. It's just on the other side. That was just a problem. Put the stickers on the others.
I'm just gonna keep drinking my 3 coffees over
So,
here.
but so you see how the kach is working here, right? It's like doing an action kind of, I guess that benefits that thing, but not in a, it's a little bit more of a metaphorical way.
I think like for the sake of.
Yes.
You said it before, and I think that's, for the sake of, for the, general and future good.
And then kageyis, I see it as to give it to them so they will encounter it. I don't know. There's like some fine line stuff here that I think about, because when we did a client conference in Sitka, Nora came up with the name ʻAʻitikaku kageyis, because I remember being there. I was like, oh, the kageyis, cool. And so I tend to use that. It's like for it to be something they will encounter, I guess. So I would say Hadachhankisani atwaskuwu kageyis. I don't know if I'd put the suck part in there. I don't know.
What is that suck doing in like being in that sentence?
So the suck would be it will become. So you could say Hadachhankisani atwaskuwu suck. It will become the wisdom of our grandchildren, our little grandchildren. So for example, you could say atchasak. It will become food. You could say áax'w sak or áax'w sak. What would those ones be?
You will become my husband, you will become my wife. Are you to be
my husband to be
a fiance?
And there's a name for the whole raven cycle, which is yesak. Raven to be. I don't know how to like it will be raven. And then there's these stories as well, which not everybody likes to tell. I guess you could say becoming a medicine person. But that's usually how someone came to be a healer. Because it's a
How do you say to be or not to be?
I guess it depends. Like it is being or it is not being. It exists or it doesn't exist. So this is yati, which would be for it to be. But then you usually need to put ye in front of it for it to be a certain way. So then you could say tl'esh. What would the negative be?
Uti.
Tl'ye uti. For it to not be a certain way. So maybe Hamlet would say Tlingit Hamlet, Hamnet. Hownet on the coast would say Gwashyeti, Gwashlye uti. But yati has a noun form. Does anybody know the noun form of yati?
T.
Making nouns out of verbs is very mysterious to me. I just tend to remember them. Like, okay, it does a certain type of thing. Usually what it does is, the short answer is it becomes ungrammatical because you couldn't say it that way. So this is to it exists. Do you know the noun form of this? I guarantee you've said it. Kusti. That reveals the pattern. Tlingit. Yes.
Ooh.
Being.
Yaaw.
So for example,
Drinking my coffee.
ʼatudli.átk.
Let it be.
Unity. Being one. ʼatudli. Because you could say ʼatudli.átk. ʼatudli.átk. We are always united. We are always one thing.
Oh,
ʼatudli. ʼatudli.átk. We are always united. Yeah, ʼax'w. There was one ḳeikakg.
That's something I hear, that no matter how many houses we have, we are just one ḳeikakg.
So ʼax'w pops up, and you know, ʼax'w. This comes from a speech, being one. That's what does it. That's the thing that connects people. That's the thing. Good stuff. Good questions.
So that ʼatudli, and then ʼatudli hana teach. That's it. It will be one, or we are one together.
We are united forever. ʼatudli hana teach.
Cool.
Okay. How about Dukt'ootlʼ? Yeah, go ahead.
Renee? ʼatudli hana teach. If I put that on a bumper sticker, would I be crossing boundaries?
Not my boundaries. I think it'd be cool.
Sounds like wedding bells.
Who's against unity? Only to people against unity. And we got to put them on the gondola that's going across connecting North Douglas.
You should make like 30 of them. I'll rock them.
That was a good April Fool's joke. That was fun.
I bet you there was a lot of angry comments on Facebook about it.
With the gondola?
Yeah, it's like the city of Juneau made a Facebook post that they're going to put a gondola connecting North Douglas to the Lemon Creek area or something.
Yeah.
Because they've been talking about a bridge for a long time, a second bridge. And so this was their, and then they bought a gondola, which is going to go on the ski resort. And a lot of people are mad about it.
Yeah.
So that was their joke post for Tuesday.
Broken on arrival.
That they were gonna take the gondola that everyone's mad about, and then instead of making a bridge, they're gonna put the gondola up, and people got so angry thinking it was real.
Oh, because they were already mad about the gondola?
That and the bridge, and
That's what I like about being .com. I'm totally not brought into that stuff. I was like,
yes, if you're inclined and they don't go like that far. It's basically a tram. So they were making a joke post that we're gonna build a new tram going from North Douglas to there.
Clever little Photoshop.
Right.
I got a question. How do you say you all were meant to be here tonight?
Ooh.
Oh, it's a lovely phrase.
Okay.
Just full of positive things today.
You all.
she was totally opposite.
I'd say it's to cut you, huh? The meant to be part, I guess, is
Could we use the same phrase as like back to like this space was researched, right? Like this space was meant for you. Like you were meant to be in this space.
yaaw, yeah. Yaki. I mean, that does it. Yaaw. This is a space that was reserved for you today.
Is the Yagi a dialect thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can say yucky, you can say yuggy, you could say yuggy, and you could say yiggy.
Okay.
Depends on where you're from. Or maybe you just pick one for every day of the week.
I was like, I'm pretty sure Teslin says a couple of those.
Renee,
which
of those four would be the oldest?
Fight words.
Right?
Probably
Back to fighting.
yucky, icky, and I don't know. That's a really good question. I think I thought I saw some breakdown of this somewhere, but I don't remember.
What is that one? I have to look at that Tlingit map because we just heard
Whatever Tant Ashingit would have said, which would probably be yucky.
Is there one that Southern Tlingit would typically use? Like just for my own
dialogue.
What does he say in this story?
Oh yeah. When you say yug is from there. Yucky.
We gotta do at least. We'll do one line. We'll do one line for the day. Can someone read this sentence?
Dukt'ootlʼ. ḳ'eikakg. Oh, and then it continues. Okay. áax'w nuch kuskawu yahaax'w.
Okay. Dukt'ootlʼ. How are we gonna translate that?
This nephew of his. However.
Well, so like in the context, ku'a can be however or although, but it can be this is the one we're talking about, right? Which I guess could be, it depends. Because like, let's say we went to the Xingit and I said, I'll order for everybody because I'm just real bossy like that. You know, I'd say, you know, I would just use huqa'a and point at all of the people to say which ones are wanting which things. So it works like that as well. And it also works for throwing any question that's asked of you back to someone else. So if someone says, Now I've just asked you the exact same question.
Mhm.
But yes, so this nephew of his, though, like that works. I don't know if a however works because this doesn't really contrast with, maybe, I guess however could work as well. Either are acceptable.
I guess it's like what you think is appropriate for a leader of a clan to be or not to be.
Right.
Or have or not have as a relation.
What it tells you is there's something important coming about this nephew.
Okay.
Because what a big part of this story is that everything comes unraveled because an uncle does not respect his nephew. Spoiler. Okay. Āax'w yaaw. How does that work and what does it translate to?
It's among
Who
ones
is
they are always
among?
called.
Okay, do it again. So if we've just named the nephew, so once we say Dukt'ootlʼ áax'w, what do you think are the, like, what's going on here?
Something contrary to what you might expect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, it's his nephew, but
Could that be the people who he's around? They do something?
Well, so
People he's around?
so like who is its own thing. Like what is who on its own?
Among.
Among. But this is one of these instances where if you have áax'w, now that is something different. It contains who, but now it's something different.
Some of them.
Some of them. Now we just named the nephew, so we know that's who we're going to be talking about somehow. And if we say áax'w, now that tells us who's going to do the verb.
The people.
Some of them always call him. That's what's going on there. They always call him this. And so when we talk about this going way back to beginning Tlingit, when we say you do a sock and ye do a sock, there was a transition probably about 12 years ago from saying my name is to saying I am called, which some people didn't like. There's like, no, that means my name is. I was like, not saying it doesn't, but I'm saying this is going to set up future uses of this verb in different ways. Because it means like to call someone something, right? Like I could say, I always call you this, or áax'w, Timothy, Timothy owe dusai. Sunny yahaax'w. I always call him Sunny because he's a sunny boy. Okay, my older brother, his name is Timothy. When I go meet him at work, they're like, "Oh, Tim?" I was like, "No, Sunny." Okay. Then we get kusqawu yachyati, which is interesting because that must be a thing. I don't know. Did anybody find this thing anywhere?
I think I
Awkward.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how.
So it is like awkward.
Weird.
It's called yachati. Achai. It's called him
How are we gonna find it?
Awkward Cafe. You're just showing Dukt'ootlʼ.
I know.
Oh, it says misfit in here.
It does say misfit.
Yeah.
So there's So we do have this like yaaw verb, which we're related to, but there's something, if it ends with ḳ'aw, okay, we're coming back to this. I don't think, like for example, there's a name, this is a name, you, his, who, cake. That's a Tlingit name.
Isn't that Raven's uncle?
That's Raven's uncle.
Yeah, or the name for the moon.
And what does it translate to?
I forgot.
Something with the tides.
Yes.
One who controls the tide.
Tide commander. So here you have kis for kis, which is the tide, and you have kawaka, which is to command someone to do something. But if this ka, like if you were to say kuyausa would be to tell people a certain thing, but I don't think it can be that, because if you put a suffix on it, like I could say gunashish khat yi sakayi. Thank you for telling me that thing. Thank you for saying that thing to me. You would have y. We have w. So this tells me, I think this part is a person. Now I have to look for what this kawu is. I don't know what that other part could be. I'll go see if I can find it. But they would always say to him, this is what they call, I would say, you could almost put it like this. Like they made a name for him or something. Oh, there he is. It's like name calling, which is what I think we're getting to in here, which is wild. Like I've always wanted to take like a real close look at this story.
Where do you see the name, like name calling?
Because they say yesaknuch.
Okay.
Like if you're gonna use that verb, this yay sets it up for yesaknuch yeshia. They always call him White Raven.
Okay, but not the same as the English like name calling, which implies
Yeah.
derogatory.
Right.
Okay.
But they would always call him this, but then it's probably not a nice name. But I don't, maybe not, maybe it isn't.
It could be like your nickname.
Yeah.
Or but in this context, since it's like it kind of seems like it's gonna be a not nice thing. Like it's not always a not nice thing when you
Right. Yeah, because you could say áax'w. For example, I think I heard Walter Sobolov say this in another recording. It might be that same recording with George Ramos. He says something like this. áax'w yahaax'w ánkaketan. So he said, we're Kayaaní. Some people always call us ánkaketan, which is another name for his clan.
So you'd add a pronoun in there, yahaax'w.
Yeah, you could say yahaax'w. They always call us this. áax'w. You have that. It kind of knocks out the need for any hus to be in there. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, 1 sentence a day.
It is in the conversation I posted. What Walter Sobolov said.
Oh.
I shared a link and it is in there too.
Yeah. I need to put all those, I have all those videos. I had a process in mind. And I have several projects I need to get caught up on, so.
The link I shared does allow people to download them, so if you're worried about them disappearing off the internet, which is legit, people can go through and download them.
I do think I'm just gonna put them all on YouTube. That was what I started to do. because then you could add the subtitles to it.
Ooh,
We can certainly do other analyses through other means.
Right, so if you click
Yeah.
one, it's got the transcription, and you can just hit play wherever you want to hear it, the little icon to the left.
aw, lots of our women.
And I found the parenting and pregnancy
Easy.
one between Nora and Ruth.
And they're transcribed too.
Oh, and the video's there.
And you can change how big you want the video too.
I've been looking
And
at
playback
of
speed.
ʼatudli.átk for so long, and there's one of her on here.
In print size, so for folks who have trouble seeing, you can adjust the print on it.
Okay, so in addition to Dukt'ootlʼ,
Here,
over the weekend you guys should watch this video
Which one?
because they talk about Dukt'ootlʼ in it.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, number 54.
yeah,
And then watch him just light the room on fire at the end. Because he's like, this is how I'm going to bring it. I'm going to bring it. It's 102 years old. Everybody better stop what you're doing and listen to that. Okay. Oh, that's so great that she's got it up there.
Sheesh.
Where'd you go?
What page do you want us to try to get to for Dukt'ootlʼ?
We get through just the next page. We're on page 2? Well, there's only 13 to go. I'm not going to panic.
And 4 weeks left.
Okay. Naskiki, Gesatk, Hashuk Gwaguk, ʼeikakg. Qasatin Gilchish.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.